Hey everyone, sorry, I clicked on the wrong profiles or whatever, the layouts. Happy 2024. Thank you so much for having patience to check out that little video, the little 5-minute bumper video. Our wonderful member Jorge made that, so we really love him. And the purpose of those is one of our resolutions this year is to be a little bit more professional. So you're in the right place. You are at the Future Fiction Academy. I'm Elizabeth Ann West, and this is our very first live in 2024, of which we hope to be many. There to be many. So let's talk about that for just a second. You will have me on Mondays at 10 a.m. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you'll have the wonderful Michelle Hinosa. So I'll be here tomorrow on Tuesday with her. And then on Wednesday, she'll be live basically as I'm teaching a lab. I know everyone was like, that's a conflict. The reason for that is because we wanted to make sure that we had a consistent YouTube time. And then also the labs are usually pretty advanced at that 10 a.m. hour, at least for the first couple of weeks, because we're working on a project of fine tuning. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Then on Thursdays, I'll be there at noon, because typically on Fridays, I thought I was going to be at noon, but we actually decided to move Fridays around so that way I can try to meet as many time zones as possible. So this particular week, I believe I'm at noon, and then the following week I am in the evenings on East Coast time, and then the 19th, it's going to be a bunch of 2-hour slices because I'm going to do one of my epic, let's just do the whole thing in one sitting projects. So we have a lot of fun stuff. Okay, let me check in the chat and see how many people are here. Oh, hi Harper, hi Ingrid, hey Carrie, good morning, and hi Krista. Pamela, I haven't seen that name before. Welcome, Pamela. All right, good morning. Okay, so this morning it's the brand new year, right? What I figured I would do real fast is I wanted to share with you, I was not fully set up. I got into that spa music and I was like, oh yes, this is very nice. So it wasn't really I don't know. I'm going to have to mute that and turn on some razzmatazz music or whatever to get my blood pump in there. All right. Welcome, Pamela. Welcome, Christina. Good afternoon. Excuse me. Okay. So in the link, always in the description of every single YouTube live we do, there is a link to a wonderful handy dandy Notion page. This is the Notion page for today. This is the January 1st, 10 a.m. Eastern Time live writing with AI. And there's a link to the course curriculum planner. This is a project that has been weeks in the making, the new curriculum. So I actually have it up for you right here so that you can see it. Super cute. Rexy has all grown up. I am not sharing my screen. I realize that. That is the hazard of this. I'm so used to with Zoom, just being able to do that. So let me go ahead and share my screen really fast. All right. So handy dandy, every time in your YouTube live, you have a link to a handy dandy Notion page. In this case, we have the January 1st live writing with AI. This is where I'll put the links for anything that we go over that you should have access to after the live. For example, we have the course curriculum calendar, which I created. The calendar, not the guide here, but actually this curriculum was the work of every staff member of the FFA. So that's Stacy, Michelle, Leland, Stephanie, and myself. And we looked at all of our old labs and we really kind of came up with 3 different tracks for people this year, or for this quarter, but we will continue to do this each quarter. So we're going to have classes, projects, and special topics. I'm not going to go over all of this. You have the link in your Notion calendar, but you can go ahead and check out some of the classes that are coming over the next just 90 days. And then also we have our project talking about Rexy classes, AI writing tools. So we go over all of that. And we do all of this in 90 days. So with 3 months, we think is a really good amount of time that you can really kind of wrap your brain around AI, especially if you're just getting started, and really move from beginner to practically expert. Finally, we have our projects. I'm really excited about our projects this quarter. So projects, we have Write a Series book with AI. That's starting tonight. But more specifically, that one is not starting tonight. I take that back. That's a 6-week project. There's a 3-week project starting tonight. Let me go to that page. This working with an existing series, Project 361. That is what's starting tonight. That answers the question that we get so many times. Elizabeth, how do I bring in a book that's already started and start using AI with it? Right? because a lot of us have a whole bunch of works in progresses that are literally in progress. And that particular 3-week series that starts tonight is going to show people how to break that down into components that the artificial intelligence can understand, and then help you make a plan for how to continue that story with AI assistance. Going back to the 6-week projects, we have writing an entire series book with AI, which Leland is teaching. He will have another 3-week course before that project that is all about planning that series. So don't worry, we're not going to have you like try to write a series from scratch with no prep work. There will be a 3-week project to do the prep work, and then a 6-week project plan in order to go ahead and get that book done. The genre selection this quarter is lit RPG. Our plans is to change the genre every quarter. So if you have a specific genre you want for next quarter, let us know in the Discord and we'll see if we can accommodate it. Steph is taking on serialization, which is so hot right now. So hot, right? I don't know about you, but my inbox flooded with a bunch of predictions for 2024. And also Ryan Rivers was kind enough to forward one over to me from Ally. And pretty much their predictions are AI, audiobooks, and serialization and selling direct. And at the FFA, we teach all of that. So serialization is super hot. We are good friends with the wonderful people behind Ream. And a lot of our members are using Ream to start their own subscriptions with their readers. And then my project, which I'm so excited for, fine tuning. Yes, if you've ever wanted the AI to write like you, we now have a prototype data set modeling that we're going to share with you and teach you how to do. So you can actually get ChatGPT 3.5 16K to write in your style. I did not stutter. Write in your style. Steph did the data set for that just this past week and had amazing results. So I cannot wait for that project. That's going to start on Wednesday. So you definitely want to get in there, and I'll see you guys at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday for the fine tunes. All right. If you have any questions about what we're going to be doing this next 90 days, let me know. We actually pulled back and then kind of realized like we're still doing a lot. So it's a lot for 90 days, right? But I think it's totally doable. We totally did more in the last 90 days all over the place. So now we're a little bit more focused. Let me go ahead and check the questions and see if there's anybody there. Oh, hey, Adam. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Swift. Okay. So these lives are not supposed to just be. Oh, by the way, yeah, I got this in the cup in St. Pete Beach at NINC this past year, Novelist Incorporated. Sorry, talking, my throat is parched this morning. Plus, I might have had a little too much wine last night. Anyone else have a little too much celebration last night? Am I the only one? I hope not. I actually woke up late. Thankfully, Steph Pajonas was texting me, and that's what woke me up because I slept right through my alarms. Okay, so let's talk about these lives. They're kind of for me. I mean, and for you. Don't get me wrong. They're for you too. It's 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah, that's right. I didn't mix my metaphor that way. I have not been taking time to write as much as I wanted to. I have been like neck deep in AI research and figuring things out. So one of the things that I am working on is some writing time for Elizabeth. So hopefully I'm not going to lose everybody as soon as I announce which project I'm doing this week. But you know, the last couple of months I have been writing on every single genre under the sun that's not mine. So today I'm going to be writing on Jane Austen fan fiction. That doesn't mean that's only the genre I'm going to write on these times. Actually, I have plans to move into a bunch of different genres. So just for today, we're going to kind of plan a JAF novella because my goal here is that I have about an hour this morning, an hour on Thursday, and then I have 2 hours on Friday. So we're going to see what we can get done in those 4 hours. I'm going to go a little bit quick. And the other thing that you do get to do today is those of you who are in the Future Fiction Academy, let me know in the comments or let me know in the chat so people can see you. Run over to the Discord and check out the channel that is Rexy the Fast testing. And you'll see a link to Baby Rex, which is what I'm going to use this morning. We have unlimited word banger prototyped inside of Baby Rexy. All right, if you've been following along in the month of December, you know that the FFA has in regular Rexy the ability to sequence prompts and everything like that. We did in 50 minutes 37,500 words the Friday before Christmas, and they were decent words. We gave it a B- for keeping narrative logic and writing style. So we are definitely moving into a whole new realm in 2024 with writing with AI. So I'm going to go ahead and take myself off the camera. I'm going to check for any questions or anything like that before I get started. Hey, Steph. I see Steph in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So you guys are going to kind of watch me from the very beginnings. Like, I have nothing set up. I have nothing started. So let me go ahead and bring this back to the stage. Oh, that's cool. I can go right to my page here. I'm sharing my screen, right? Everyone sees that, I hope. I think so. Let me try to get my window so that I can see y'all's chat, because that's important to me. Fantastic. And I will zoom in. Awesome. All right, let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys a little bit. Boop, boop, boop. I might not be able to use Baby because I think he was making some changes in the LLM tuner, which is for our fine tunes, where it's going to, like, if you put some information in here and hi, Mom. Don't worry if you don't understand what this does. It's going to start capturing the number of tokens that's in the entry. So Steph and Stacy, if you see that, I know you'll be excited. All of our other members, you'll know that this is our system that we use to make it easy for you guys to create a JSON-L file, which is what's needed for a fine tune. This is not an example of a fine tune, by the way. Do not do this mess right here. But the basics of a fine tune is you need to have a system input, a user input, and an assistant input. And this is what we're going to be playing with on Wednesday. It's in regular Rexy too. It's just, it was prototyping out. The problem is I can't remove them. So we made one change, but this is Baby Rexy is our stage where we actually play with things. So anyway, let me go back to the home page. So you'll see on my Rexy may need attention. It's got my keys, no problems. Oh, good to hear, Stacy. Please clear up this. Are you doing YouTube all month? Hi, Ingrid. Good morning. The Future Fiction Academy is doing YouTube all month, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I am the crew that's doing Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and Michelle Hinosa is doing Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are going to focus on a beginner's guide to start writing with AI, and I'm going to be doing the more intermediate and advanced on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, with Fridays also including special projects. Like on the 19th, there's like, I don't know, 5 sessions. I don't remember what we put on the calendar. Everything's on the calendar, y'all. So if you're on this, the course curriculum here, the calendar is right here. And what's really cool about our calendar is that it is in your time zone, which I did not realize that would be a problem there. But if you click this link, and I can go ahead and put it here, FFA calendar. This thing is really nifty. So there's the calendar. The calendar should be in your time zone when you click the link, and I'll also put it in the chat for y'all. And so it'll show you the YouTube live and who's on the YouTube live. I'm on tomorrow, and then Michelle is on at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and they are on the calendar. We have the first week so far, and then we'll be filling in the rest of them. So it was just a lot. So all the YouTubes are coming. We didn't want to overwhelm the YouTube channel, but they will be consistently at that same time. So we have the next couple of Fridays planned because we wanted to plan the subjects and things like that, and also have the link to the live. So if you open this, for example, this will have the link directly to the live when that's happening. Yeah, so they're coming, Ingrid. Just know that they'll be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays at 10 a.m., Thursdays at 12 p.m., and Fridays all over the place. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Ingrid, for that question. That's a fantastic question. I really appreciate it. Okay, so back on to Rexy. One of the things, one of the things I like about Rexy is if you go to the home page, I can just click on this and it's going to take me right to my superstructure page. So I'm going to just be talking through what I'm doing here. I'm going to do a new series. So this is a new project because, I mean, my other projects are like crazy. And I'm going to immediately rename it. So we're going to call this Week 1, 2024. And how crazy would it be if I did a novella every week? Is that crazy, y'all? Let's just do it, right? Rules are for other people. So I have my Jack novella. And it's pretty empty right now. The other thing that I always like to do is I need my blackjacks. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Oh, does that one already have information in it? No, it does not. It's okay. And then I just drag it into my Jaff. That way I have my big bang when I need them. Our original blackjack, we thought that we would be doing this way, but that's not how we write with AI. So coming back over here, now I need to tell it what project I want it to load. So I created a project on my Rexy superstructure page. So I clicked my Rexy superstructure page and I clicked a project. And now if I look at my drop down, there is no project named that. So what I have to do is I just clear my cache and it's right there. So now I can load that project. Another big thing that is going to be coming to production, everyone, is, hold on one second. Let me go with, I don't need to put third. I guess I do need to put, I'm going to put session 1. So I know, not with 3 S's, Elizabeth. That's crazy. There we go. Session 1. The other change that's coming to production, Rexy, including the unlimited bangs, is word banger. Your bangs are not going to be on the right-hand side anymore. They're going to be at the bottom here. And watch this. If I want to do 30 sequences, I just reset the instas. And it is a reset. If you are using them and then you change the number, it's going to blank them all out. So be mindful that if you add it, it's going to add them. And now look, I can do 30 bangs, y'all. I can do 30 prompts. That's crazy. Second of all, your elements panel over here. Check this out. This is where you load the blackjack. We've moved it to our elements panel so that our elements panel, just like with your Notion slot page, it's a lot easier. If you're brand new and you're like, I don't know what any of this is, don't worry. We have entire classes on it, and you'll get to find out everything about this. And you're about to watch me use it. Okay, so I need to create a book. So let me go ahead and go to my library, the prompting library. And yeah, we can do the story premises. Let me see. What do I want to do? We'll go ahead and load that prompt. It's fine. So give me one story premise for the genre of whatever that includes ideas. What I love so much about Rexy is that you can change prompts on the fly. So our library just shows you prompts that are basic prompts, but you can bring your own secret sauce to the party, basically. So I'm going to say you specialize in storylines that are variations of Pride and Prejudice, focusing on Elizabeth Bennet and Fitzwilliam Darcy falling in love in via new plot lines and situations. So basically I'm defining out my genre here. If you write it, whatever genre you write in, you could write this, you could define it out too. Please keep original details of the story intact and only change what must be changed for the variation. For example, in the case where a story imagines that Elizabeth is a twin of Jane Bennet, other details about the family would not necessarily change. There would still be 4 younger sisters Mary. Oh, it's 3 younger sisters. Wow. Elizabeth can't count. I blamed the extra wine last night. Mary, Lydia, Kitty, and Lydia. Okay. So we'll put that there. Story ideas should have high levels of romance, drama, and include a moment where the reader will believe that Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth are not getting together. Makes me think of a Taylor Swift song. We are never, ever, ever getting back together, right? Okay. So that's my system prompt. A system prompt just kind of frames out what kind of persona that I want the LLM to play in. Now here, it says, give me 1. I want 3. And we're not doing novels, we're doing novellas. So give me 3 novella story premises for the genre of, I'm going to put over here, Jane Austen, fan fiction, Regency romance. So it knows what time period. And some ideas. Let me think here. I had some ideas earlier. Okay, I'm just going to put story takes place directly after the disastrous proposal from Mr. Collins and speeds up the timeline. So there is a double wedding in the new year for Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth and Jane and Mr. Bingley. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Story takes place directly after, takes place November 1811, the morning after the story starts. How about that one? November 18, late November. It's late November in the timeline. Late November 1811, the morning after the Netherfield ball, because I really hate writing ballroom scenes. I have written so many balls. Netherfield ball. Directly after the disastrous proposal from Mr. Collins to Elizabeth. It should already know that, but I'm giving you examples. If I was writing in a genre that it didn't know, then I would include in the system prompt basically like a list of characters right now, so it would understand like who Mr. Collins is and Elizabeth is. I don't have to do that with my genre because I write public domain variations, so it's all good. I don't think I want 3.5 turbo. Let's go ahead and go with 4 turbo. Temperature, we could try like 1.8 and then bring the presence penalty down to 0.6 to see if we get stuff that's similar to Claude. And we will also tell it, please write a beginning, middle, and end for each story premise. Because I want a little bit of meat to it. So I'm going to update my AI. And I always want to make sure that my button over here matches exactly what I wanted over here. And, oh, by the way, another cool thing. Prompt for Jaff. The cool thing is that we can construct prompts at any time. So even if you don't want to hook up all of your APIs and things like that, you can literally just get the prompt and it'll show you exactly how it's going to build the prompt. So you can double check that the elements that you put in the box here and the elements that you changed here, it all makes cohesive sense. Because you'll see here, give me 3 novella story premise. So I should probably say premises. For the genre of Jane Austen fan fiction Regency romance, that includes story starts late November 1811, the morning after. It's a little bit of a run-on sentence, but honestly, the AI doesn't care. It's all just tokens. All right, I'm going to go ahead and process. Ooh, the mistletoe pull. The denizens of Longbourn House latch onto Lingerfest unions. Oh, no. Stop. Nope. So do not use those settings, by the way, the temperature settings. The reason it went ham and crazy like this is because of the temperature being way, way too high. So we'll bring that down and we'll bring that back to 1. I'm going to instead Oh, I didn't change my top P was the problem. So that's what happens when you change your temperature and not your top P. I changed my presence penalty, which is not what I meant to do. You want the top P and then the temperature. So let's try that again. There we go. A winter's masquerade. Perfect. The question in chat is Rexy chat available? It is, but Rexy chat is going to get an overhaul next week, in the next 2 weeks. So we're going to make it more robust and have a lot more features to it. Right now, it doesn't really save very well to Notion and everything like that. And that's, how I feel about copying and pasting. So I don't know. Mr. Bingley announces a winter masquerade. I mean, that's kind of a good idea, basically. But he just had a ball, so that's kind of a weird idea. Yuletide correspondence. Mr. Bingley's called away to London on urgent basis. Business leaving Jane heartbroken. Secret correspondence with Mr. Darcy, hoping to persuade him of Jane's affection. I don't know about that. I don't like that either. Okay, the winter rescue. Okay, yes, but not a snowstorm. Let's make it a rainstorm. I like this one. It's not new. There's been plenty that have done that. So what I'm going to do is all of this wrote to Notion. So I can literally just grab it in Notion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one, premise 3. I am going to copy and paste it. In my auto write, I need, by the way, I'm inside of my my project here. So I'm inside the project of the Jaff novella. Everything goes to your auto write page. It will do whatever you said for the auto write thing. So if I called this, beginning premise or whatever I could, and it always timestamps it, which is very, very helpful. I did temperature 1.6, 1.8, and I did my top P 0.6 because I was using Turbo, GPT-4 Turbo. Okay, so I need my Notions 21 page. Oh, my bad. You can do a slash and a page to start the page, and then I'll call this Notions 21. And then the way I make a Notions 21 page very simply, because these are also becoming unlimited too, by the way. So you can have as many as you want. We're going to call this N. And then if you click your dots here and you'll see the shortcut code for duplicate, which is Command D. So I'm going to just do my Command D and just do a whole bunch of them. And that's a quick way to get them all numbered for you, and then just delete the first one. If you're wondering why are we doing that, it's because Rexy has the ability to bring information in for our prompts. And I'm a big believer in there should not be a specific format. So hold on one second here. Let me come over here. Okay. So when there's a lot of AI tools that are hitting the market, which is what's happening right now. I mean, there's so many. And then there's a ton that we don't even have relationships with or something like that. Yesterday alone, I had 4 different I'm going to just call them out, useless nonfiction books. Those nonfiction books are a huge thing for the internet marketing crowd or whatever. Make bunches of money, people following you, and have a nonfiction book. And they're teaching people to use AI to write kind of empty nonfiction books. There are still also some methodologies, some new things coming out there too that are here, use our program to write fiction for you, and they'll promise you that you can write a whole book. It's usually crap. They aren't having you bring in an API key. They're having you use whatever their AI is, which is typically one of the cheap ones, whether it's 3.5, not tuned, or one of the open source models that is fractions upon fractions of a penny to use, or sometimes even free. But they have a really cool, slick interface. It's just the actual writing is just blah. On top of that, you take time to learn all these different programs and everything like that, and they're all slightly different. How many words they allow you to have for characters, how many words they allow you to have for your outline. We don't believe in any of that at the Future Fiction Academy. We're no. So Rexy, when I designed it with our developer, Joseph, it was the top requirement I had was that authors can go in there and they can design a prompt however they want to. I'm not going to tell them that they have to use XYZ outline formatting. Bring your own outline formatting. Like if you want to have a specific kind of outline for all of your books, you just throw it in a Notion page and that becomes your prompt. So it has complete freedom to prompt however you want. And some of our longtime members will tell you that that is the big difference between Rexy and other software that's out there. Is there other software out there that's prettier? I mean, yeah, because we built a dinosaur. Dinosaurs aren't pretty. That, you know, it looks really slick and they figure out how to use it. Yes. But Rexy, as far as being a workhorse or a work dino and just getting massive amounts of words on the page, plus giving you full customization, there really isn't a tool like that out there on the market. And that allows you to just do a whole bunch of different iterations and different models and things like that. So that's my opinionated stance on AI writing software. I think there should be nothing between the creative and the LLM in terms of what prompting is there. That's the other thing that some of these software companies are doing. They're inserting prompting in between you and the LLM. So even if you ask for something like no dialogue, this is a letter, all of a sudden you get dialogue and you're like, why? And what you don't know is that there's a prompt in between you and, like, you put your prompt, but they're putting what you put in their input box into a bigger prompt that they have written. And maybe the last little line says like, it must have a certain percentage of dialogue and narrative and stuff like that, because the company made an opinionated decision about how the writing has to be. And I don't think that that's what's helpful for creatives long term. We need full control, because when you don't have full control and you're not getting the results that you want or need, you think you're the problem. And that's probably not the case. It's probably the AI or the software. Okay, so I'll get off my soapbox now. All right, so back to this. So in my Notions page here, I have a handy dandy little thing here. So the genre, we're going to call this, for right now, I'm going to call this my pre-writing. And I'm going to go ahead and make N2 be the information for premise 3, which is the winter rescue. So now I'm going to go ahead and clean it up for what I want. So the morning after Mr. Collins' proposal, Elizabeth takes a solitary walk to Oakham Mount. Some of you will be familiar with this story idea. Finds herself getting caught in a sudden rainstorm. Spots her in the worsening weather and comes to her aid. No, Mr. Darcy before the party at Netherfield leaves for London is also on Oakham Mount when the storm begins. All right. I think Elizabeth should twist her ankle, or no, Mr. Darcy should twist his ankle. Okay, so actually, I want to change all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit quicker on this. I'm just going to grab it, and I can come over to chat, like you were asking about. So here's chat. And I'm going to use 1106. I'm going to bring my temperature back down because I want it to listen to me. Temperature controls how much the LLM does not have to listen to the prompt. So I'm going to say, read this. Now rewrite and change it. So they meet on Oakham Mount. Then Elizabeth talks with Mr. Darcy, and then the rain happens. And as they try to find shelter, they at the bottom of the hillside, Mr. Darcy slips and turns his ankle. Okay, so let's see if it'll rewrite it. She set out for a walk. Perfect. Yeah. And I think that that's funny. Because I like the idea of Elizabeth trying to help him into the shepherd's cottage. Although, yeah, because I'm not going to make it like, I'm not going to have them like stuck together and, you know, overnight or anything like that. That's just ridiculous. Unforeseen intimacy that the day's earlier events had not foretold. Okay, so lots of conversations going to be happening there. In the middle is, you know what? I'm just going to grab this, coming back over here, and I'm going to say, great. Keep going with a middle that shows a scene at Netherfield Park where the rain keeps them from leaving. And Mr. Bingley and Miss Bingley is worried that Mr. Darcy cannot be found anywhere. Oh, Caroline. Okay. And then back at the cottage, Elizabeth makes a fire, surprising Mr. Darcy at her abilities. And you know, I guess Hertfordshire has to get like crazy rain, a squall or whatever. The wind howls and the rain worsens. Elizabeth fights with Mr. Darcy about taking off his boot. That would be actually a very intimate thing. So it was a difficult thing to do. So that would actually be hilarious. So there we go. They talk more, including why they were on Oakham Mount. Okay, perfect. Please expand the above to be a middle section. Okay. Cool. Turning the roads into muddy rivers. Okay, I like it. All right, let me check the chat here a little bit. Oh, okay. Work, Dino. Hey, Ekello. Good morning. Good morning. We're just working with some Rexy chat real fast. Making it go. The cool thing about Rexy chat is you can literally choose any model you want. So even models that don't have a chat interface, you can have it. So right here, she carefully helps him ease it, a swelling ankle. Cool. I will add to that information right there. But what I'm building right now is basically a narrative structure, a narrative outline, if you will, of the story. So that's what we're working on, because then we can break that down into scenes. So there we go there. I'm taking out the middle. So ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk. Let's see here. Awkward silence between them. And you know what? Here's a nifty trick. We're going to grab all of this. Let me see how many words this is. This is 586. Let's play with some word banger. So I'm going to come into word banger, and I'm going to use my elements. I'm going to use some session slots for right now, because I have this all saved in my Notion slots already. Actually, I'll just use my Notion slots. That's easier. So what I need to do is I need to grab this page right here, the Notions 21 page. And when I do that into Rexy, I just come over to my end slots and I paste that link, and I can load and refresh page. And now you'll see that my entire story premise gets put in right into N2. Now, if anyone's watching at home and going like, well, what's the point of that, Elizabeth? I'm using baby. I wonder if Joseph is pushing something to baby right now. Yeah, I have a feeling he did. That was on me. I did that. No worries. I can load my project and I'm right back where I was. Not a big deal. My end slots. So let me put my end slots in. There we go. And so now my end slot is there. Let's take out premise 3, which will do it on the main one too. Okay, so this is the beginning. So now I'm going to go to Word Banger, and I'm basically going to say, by the way, you have unlimited bangs. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say read N2. This is the only kind of coding that we have with Rexy. You might have to put stuff in squiggle brackets, and then that N2 just references my literal N2 slot here. Whatever's in that N2 box gets put right there. Okay, and I'm going to say, please continue writing the narrative outline of this novella that is a variation of Pride and Prejudice. The events in the shepherd's cottage should change Mr. Darcy's point of view on Elizabeth. So they are rescued. Then Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley change their minds about going to London. Caroline Bingley is mad and will not agree to host dinners now that Mr. Darcy wants to woo Elizabeth Bennet. No matter. Mr. Bingley points out that, see, this is the hard part. Story just comes into my head. I see it play as a movie. So I see like Mr. Bingley just being like, no matter, sister. I'm sure Mrs. Bennet would be happy to accommodate us for dinners. Mrs. Bennet will be more than happy to host dinners. We need a source of conflict that they might not get together. I'm trying to think what could happen. We have Wickham available still. I guess that's the good idea there. Caroline Bingley. I'm going back to my old story idea. Leaves in a huff with her sister, Mrs. Hurst, back to London a few days later, as Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley are always at Longbourn. They bring back Caroline brings back from London Miss Georgiana Darcy, which is a disaster. On the same night of a dinner at Longbourn, Lydia convinces her mother to invite Mr. Denny and Mr. Wickham. That Mr. Darcy brings. Yeah, I'm going to have to write all this out. I know exactly how I want this story to go. This is where it's really difficult with writing with AI, because if I'm very opinionated about what I want to have happen, the dictionary slot machine can't help me. I have to make those plans out and then let it write those scenes. Mr. Darcy brings Georgiana to Longbourn. Is incensed at Caroline, and then further about the Bennet family. What's the word? Associating with Mr. Wickham. write all this out in paragraph and find a resolution, and then a final ending. Where Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth do get married. Mr. Wickham is found out because he tries to convince Lydia to elope with him. But who would tell him that? Man, this is going to be a whole novel. This is not going to be a novella. He tries, I don't know, like, just tell me what happens here. Make sure there is a good conflict and a rational resolution. Okay, so there we go. So that's going to be my bang that I'm going to do that in. So let me go ahead and save all of that just in case I don't want to lose it. So we'll go ahead and bang just one and see what we get. The carriage driver? No. Yeah, this is all a mess. It's not going to be accurate. Okay. So now I have everything here that it came up with after being stranded. So I'm going to grab this and I'm just going to put it at the end of my N2, and that'll be something that I need to work on. So I'm going to go ahead and take my notes for me. Let me go here. I'm going to share this particular group project here, publish, put that link on the January writing thing. All right, tasks for Elizabeth. You guys can still see the screen. Okay, let me check the chat for you guys a little bit. Sorry, this is not more exciting than what it was. Window, go here. Okay. Yes, Rexy tools are very fluid and flexible. Happy New Year, Migs. Glad to see you. Caroline's always mad. Okay, so what I need to do is, because I'm opinionated about this outline, this is why I write so many other genres that are not mine. Because I'm so opinionated about this outline, I need to craft a 13-chapter outline. Why 13 chapters? Because that's what my novellas usually are. My very first book that I'm kind of going back to my roots in a way for 2024, because I want to be publishing books again. You know, I kind of like hid for a while because of all of the backlash against AI. And guess what? I no longer care. So let me go to here so you guys can see my face a little bit. Okay, so I'm wrapping this up a little bit. I've been contemplating this novella idea for a couple of months now of like Elizabeth Bennet has just had her disastrous proposal from Mr. Collins. She goes to Oakham. She runs into Mr. Darcy because they just talked the night before at the dance or at the ball. And he was like, you know, Mr. Wickham can't keep friends, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you know, I don't know what that means. But it starts to change Elizabeth Bennet's, if you read the actual original Pride and Prejudice, it does start to change her thoughts on Mr. Wickham. She's a little bit more suspicious now. If no other reason than like, you know, Mr. Darcy is a gentleman and there obviously is some conflict there. So in the original story, you have the disastrous proposal from her cousin, Mr. Collins, who that proposal is so bad, so bad. The 2005 movie kind of captures it a little bit, but if you actually read the text of it, Mr. Collins literally says that he's only asking to marry her because of the fact that he's going to inherit and, you know, she should be so grateful that he's doing this. It's so bad. I saw a meme the other day that was like Mr. Collins' terrible proposal. And then Mr. Darcy goes, hold my beer. Because Mr. Darcy had a terrible proposal in Kent later on. I want to change the story so we don't have Kent. We don't go to Lady Catherine. We don't go to Pemberley. Nothing like that. We revamp everything and we get it all sorted out in Hertfordshire. So, and apologies to my UK friends if I'm horribly mispronouncing that. So I want, basically they talk on the mountain. They spend some time talking. That's all they really need. One of the jokes in Jaff is, do you have a story problem that could have been fixed if they just talked? If so, you might want to rethink your plot. That's also good advice for any story that you're writing out there, by the way. If the two characters have a misunderstanding and they could just sit there and talk it out, maybe you don't have a real enough like stakes or conflict in your story, because people will read it and be like, they could have just talked to each other and fixed it. So they're going to talk to each other and fix it. And then what that's going to change is that's going to make Caroline Bingley mad. I like the idea of her bringing Georgina to Hertfordshire, which Mr. Darcy would not want. So I'm going to imagine that she's in London visiting. So I'm already seeing scenes I'm going to have to write. So I'm going to, write a scene that takes place in London where Georgina is walking with Colonel Fitzwilliam because she's with the Matlocks, and she thought her brother was going to come for Christmas. And Mr. Darcy's written that letter that he's not coming for Christmas or something like that. He's going to be delayed, or he'll be in London at Christmas late. Ooh, I like that idea. Oh, I need to add that to hold on. We will do this. Okay, we'll do that right there. So some ideas. By the way, this is going to be a novel now. Does go to London for Christmas. Perfect. Okay, so after writing to GD that he will be later than he expected. Okay, cool. All good. Apologies if that doesn't make sense to you guys. It makes sense in my head because I can see the story like a movie. So the point is that I'm changing the conflict, and when I change the conflict in Jaff, then I have to think about how it affects all these other elements. In the original story, Mr. Wickham does get run off from running away with Mary King, who is this bit character in Pride and Prejudice who has an inheritance. I can play with that. Like perhaps one of the things to show Mr. Darcy has changed is he goes and talks to the uncle of Mary King to say, hey, my sister was almost, I got to tell you this in private. And that's enough that they would have protected young ladies. So that could be a thing that happens too. And then the last little thing is that once he runs off Mary King, oh yeah, no, that needs to actually happen. That's okay. So to show Darcy changing, when it's clear that Mr. Wickham is pursuing Mary King, Mr. Darcy talks to the uncle, so the woman is protected. This angers Mr. Wickham. Yeah, and then when Georgina comes into the space, and then Lydia, yeah, this is all going to work. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm coming up with rising stakes. So you have to think about your characters kind of in a game with each other. So as Mr. Darcy makes moves that make sense for him, they need to be opposite of what Mr. Wickham wants. And so then that fuels Mr. Wickham to act against Mr. Darcy. So it would make perfect sense that Mr. Wickham would target Lydia, and Mrs. Bennet would be oblivious to it all. And even if Mr. Darcy is like, Mr. Wickham bad, Mrs. Bennet would be like, oh, Mrs. Darcy, don't, I could see the Bennet family being like, Lizzie and Jane are getting Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley. So let the younger girls marry who they want, all that. Anyway, so we are coming up at the end of the hour here. I'll just give you guys about 5 more minutes of any extra time that you have. So I need to do a better job between now and Thursday of really crafting what I want for the story. So that's going to be my job over the next couple of days. And I will, on Thursday when we meet at noon on Eastern time, my goal is to have all of my story elements in place. Like, what is the story world? What is what we do here is there's another write-a-thon that you can look at, which is what's new with Rexy. So let me show you this system. If you watch that live, it'll go through all of these end components. So right now I'm in phase 1, which is pre-production. Let me copy and paste this to the new one too. Actually, let's go ahead and just grab all of this because this is a good handy dandy guide. I've done a lot of write-a-thons. My goal is to have 200 of these puppies done. So where I'm at, and we're not going to do Garrick, that's fine for right now. My goal is to fill out my ends here. So the outline and the scene list and all of that, I'll be using some AI to make those scene lists and things. And then once I have all those elements on Thursday, my goal is to be running. I should be ready on Thursday to do this, which is making the writing briefs. And that'll give me overnight to validate those writing briefs on Thursday. And then on Friday, we will be running the actual scenes. And that will be basically one novella in a week. That's the way I'm doing it. So this may actually be a novel, fair warning. And by novel, it'll just depend on how many scenes I have total. If I can make it just a novella, I'm going to shoot for that because I really just want to get a project done. And I think that this is a really good story idea. Very basic, lots of fun, lots of romance, lots of high action. I'm excited to kind of write it this week. And I need to write it in a week because here's another thing about me with writing. If I take too long to write a book, I get bored with it and then I abandon it. And I have been this way my entire career. I can work on something that's longer if I'm just so tenacious and aggravated that like it's a big thing. So like my first book I took months to write because I was like, I'm going to write a book. But my JAF, almost all of my Jane Austen fan fiction stuff has been written in like weeks and days. And that was back when I was using dictation and just typing a lot. So The Trouble with Horses, for example, the very first novella I wrote, which imagine Mr. Darcy falling off of his horse before the Meryton Assembly. It's probably terrible. Don't go read it. But it's 27,000 words. I wrote that book in like 2 or 3 weeks because I had other things going on in my life that I was upset about. And then A Winter Wrong, which is the first novella in a Seasons of Serendipity series, that one I wrote in 2 weeks. Other books I have written in just 2 or 3 weeks. A Test of Fire, I started that in October and it published at the beginning of December. So that was like 6 weeks to write that novel. So I have always been someone who has to write as fast as she can and get it done, or there's always the risk that I won't. So let me know in the comments if you're one of those writers as well, that if it takes too long, it's like, I can't, I can't. But AI really gives me the ability to be that fast. So, all right, everyone. Let me go ahead and go back to me. Yay. Just so you know, I did post at the top of the hour the link to the catalog, the course curriculum. We have a lot of great stuff going on in the next 90 days at the FFA. I hope you'll join us in lab. I will be live again on Thursday. I will be also live tomorrow with Michelle. So Michelle will be in the control seat and she'll be running the show and working on her project. The other thing that I'll say is that at noon today, which is in 1 hour, we have lab number 1, and that's with yours truly. And it is on Rexy 201. So if you saw Rexy just now, you can join us at noon and go through the onboarding, and I'll be answering questions and doing an overview of Rexy. So I will see all of you guys in the Zoom room in about an hour. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I'll see you soon. Bye.